consulted? Was the consultation in writing or verbally?
A consultation with for legal advice? Yes, in a board meeting. And it should be on record. I'm sure it can be produced. And as far as knowing whether Madam Jennifer was one of the applicants, I do not know. I didn't even know about the number because the process was in very early stages. Because they were supposed to receive all applications and shortlist the people that they wanted and only bring forth to us for action. That had been the procedure put in place.
Then allow me to ask her direct. Madam Jennifer, I'm sorry. I don't have something personal against you. Are you among the 40 Ugandans who had also shown an interest in to be the CEO of Uganda Airlines?
Did you apply, in other words?
No, I didn't. Because the day I was going to apply, I was appointed.
Oh, wow. Okay, as Honorable Baka comes in, I just wanted to note a contradiction between Captain Kisoro and the acting board chair.
That's where I'm going.
Because Captain Kisoro, you said that when this board was appointed, you found this process. Board chair, are you listening? That you people wrote to the shareholders in an April report telling them that, look, we are going to embark on the process of recruiting a CEO. So if you were in my shoes, who would you believe? Because Captain Kisoro is saying we found it already on the move. The acting board chairperson is saying we actually notified the board that we are going to embark on the process. So who do you want me to believe? What do you want me to put in my report?
Mr. Chairman, it was an ongoing process that was started before us, and even us when we took it on. As the board's mandate, one of your first roles is to appoint a CEO. So in our April report, it was to continue the process of recruiting a CEO.
So now you're shifting goalposts. What exactly was in the April report?
That is what we're going to share that with you. I've noted it as one of the documents that we'll share with you.
Yeah, we shall want to look at the document, but what were you communicating exactly?
The process of recruiting a CEO.
The process of recruiting a CEO?
Yes. We did not necessarily, if I can just correct myself, not necessarily say we started the process, but it was part of our mandate. Remember, there was an interim board before us. So when you come on, you find the other board has already been doing something, and you carry on.
Okay, so you're saying you want to correct. What did you find had been done by the interim board that you picked up?
The process of recruitment of a CEO.
At what point had they gone? Who hired PricewaterhouseCoopers?
It was through the Ministry of Works. Through the Ministry of Works.
Through the Ministry of Works?
Yes.
Were you, as this new board, involved, or were you not?
We were not involved in that process.
So you found that process already ongoing? Yes. And were you in touch with PricewaterhouseCoopers at any point?
Just before, we gave them the job specifications, and just before the advert went out, yes, we were in touch with Pricewaterhouse.
Yeah, so you took over as the new boss.
Yes.
So you're saying you gave them the job specifications, what you want, as they, put out an advert and all of that.
Yes.
So you took over. You were in charge.
Took over eventually. Yes.
Certainly.
Yes.
I saw Barbara wanted to add something.
Thank you, Honorable. Was chaired by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Works. Now, the interim board started on the process of recruiting a recruitment firm for the CEO and senior management. When the new board came in, one of the key outputs they wanted from them was to recruit a CEO. So since the other process had already moved on, the new board adopted the process and it ended. And in the April report that my chair is referring to, the chairperson informed the shareholders that we are now going to put out an advert because the recruitment process for the firm had ended, and so we put out an advert and then the process started. That's the clarification I wanted to make.
Okay, but what I glean is you took over the process because I want to avoid you shifting blame to the interim board. Of course, if there is no blame and the entire blame is on the interim board, we shall place it on them. But what seems to be clear now is this new board took over the process. You contacted the recruiting firm, told them what you were interested in, the job specifications, who it is you would want in a CEO. You gave them instructions on what to do. and so they went ahead, put out an advert. So you were in charge. And when it came to appointing Jennifer Bamuturaki, you were the ones who told PricewaterhouseCoopers, abandon that whole process because we have gotten a quicker way to find the CEO. So in other words, you were in charge, and I wanted that. And she did not apply. She was handpicked, and that would be okay. I can't even say it is her fault, because for her, she was there just minding her own business, and then they told her, come and be CEO. So the fault is not hers, The fault now, as far as we are concerned, is with this board, which was in the process of recruiting a CEO, put out an advert, 40 people expressed interest. I'm sure you didn't even give them feedback. You just cancelled the whole process, and you hired someone on instructions. Of course, we shall seek to meet the minister and the permanent secretary, so that we get to understand for them how are they operating. Our first blame is with the board, because you cannot say we got instructions. You did not express any discomfort, because here you're showing, a little bit of discomfort. But you did not, you just said, well, these are the shareholders, what they want is what we do. I want us to move to something else now. Does Uganda Air staff structure? Because according to the Auditor General, you don't have a staff structure. When you were being audited, you did not avail a staff structure.
An interim organogram has been approved, and that is available now.
Approved
But
by
at the time by the board. At the time of the audit, it wasn't availed to the auditor.
At the time of the audit, and it was the guide for the running of the organization. Yeah.
So what do you have now, specifically?
What we have now is still what is on the business implementation plan, plus one that was presented to the interim board, and then the interim board deferred it to the main board. So the main board reviewed it, but it's been overtaken by events, because we have a staff establishment audit that is ongoing from public service as well as National Planning Authority. So until that process is complete, then we'll be able to have one designed based on their findings and advice and guidance.
So how are you people operating? Because you don't have a staff structure in place. Who is doing what?
We have, if you look at the business implementation plan.
I don't have it.
There it is.
Yes, Honorable Baka. Okay, maybe you want to first speak to this, then Honorable comes in.
As a workers leader, I'm concerned here. Now that you have been in existence since April,
Yes.
do you have the title of a
Yes.
human resource manager?
Yes, we do.
You do.
We have an acting human resource
What
manager.
is she doing?
She's doing the role of a human resource manager. So.
Like what? If the workers are all encompassed in one grade and given salaries differently.
No. A salary structure we have, it's on the business implementation plan. And there was another structure that, because this was overtaken by events, so it was presented to the interim board. And there were approvals made based on the presentations that were made. What we've brought to you is the business implementation plan that shows the structure and the establishment.
Have you ever looked at the queries of the Auditor General?
Yes, sir.
Do you agree with him?
To a point, yes. Because at the time when the audit was done, what they looked at did not have what they were, the approvals, and because those approvals were tabled before the interim board in a work plan. Because at the time they were asking, there were certain roles that they were not seeing. They wanted an establishment, what they call an establishment. And that establishment we had put before the interim board. And then the interim board deferred it to this board. So we have a partial approval for the establishment to enable us to operate until the audit is complete, sir.
So just for clarity, what structure are you operating? Are you saying this is the structure you're operating by currently?
Yes, part of it is in there because those roles are actually in the organization. And then we have, based on the work plan that was approved by the interim board, and we're working with that as well.
It's confusing.
Is it?
What stuffs? Because you're saying there's part of this, then there's a work plan, and so on. I'm confused. Mm-hmm. If I asked you for the staff structure of Uganda Airlines,
yes,
that's what I'm interested in. Because you're saying there's what is herein. This is
That's
National Airline Business and Implementation Plan.
Yes.
So then you're saying there is a work plan. So which is which?
Okay. The airline is running on the business implementation plan. What you see at the back has a structure as well as an establishment. We are running on that at the moment. Now, when the interim board took over, they believed that there were too few to make decisions that should be made by the bigger board. So out of the establishment, they only approved for particular roles, and these were put in a work plan because from their point of view was that they are not mandated to carry out the roles of the bigger board. So whatever it is that we were doing was pulled out of the implementation plan, but approved based on needs basis. So we can avail you with that work plan to guide this particular finding.
Now, because your staff structure is not clear,
yes,
even your salary structure is not clear, according to the Auditor General, the findings therein, you know, there are disparities because things are in a tipsy-turvy manner. So you find people occupying the same position earning different amounts. And I'll give you examples here, according to the Auditor General. So you have Director Maintenance and Accountable Manager. I see a name, Ephraim Bagenda here, earning 80 million shillings per month. You have another director, Director Flight Operations, earning 47 million. You have a Director Commercial, earning 40 million. Director Finance, earning 40 million. When you come to managers, similar challenge there. You have Manager Engineering and Planning, earning 28.8 million a month. Manager Ground Operations, 28 million. Same with Manager Maintenance and so on. When you come to IT Manager, 15 million. Manager Cargo, 15 million. Sales and Marketing Manager, 15 million.
yes,
These are all managers.
Yes.
You know, the others are all directors. When you come to captain positions, there are two captains earning 65 million. These are all captains.
yes,
You know, there's another earning 63, another 62. Then there are those earning 54 million. Then there are captains earning 38 million. And yes, all the way 38. So these are all captains. One captain, two captains earning 65 million. Other captains earning 38 million. What's this? How do you guys come to this conclusion that one director can earn 80 million and another director earns half? They're all directors. You know, captains, one is earning 65 million, another is earning 38 million. How do you come to these conclusions? How do you guys do these things? And it's the same thing with the cabin crew. There are some cabin crew members who earn 4 million and other cabin crew members who earn 2 million. Same position, I suppose same qualification, you know. Cabin crew passer, I don't know what that is. There are some earning 10 million, and then there are those earning 5 million. How does Uganda Airlines operate? How do you people just sleep, dream, and come up with figures? How do you do this? Please.
Honorable, what at the time of the audit, there was a lot, like you said, tipsy-turvy. So at the time I was acting, by the time of the audit. So I presented, no, by the time of the findings. So I presented to the board, interim board, the challenges we had with different salary scales and structures, because it was, much as everything was highlighted in the business implementation plan, I could clearly see that it was out of range. What was on ground was out of range from what was in the implementation plan. So what happened is we were asked to do a benchmark and present to the interim board a structure that rhymes with what the industry is. Now, you've talked about flight operations. I would like to start with that one, where there are different captains earning differently, cabin crew. We have two aircraft types. There's the CRJ, that's what is commonly known as the Bombardier, and then there's the Airbus. Now, the two have different structures. The captains flying the Airbus earn a little more from the captains that are flying the Airbus. Then also, the CRJ. Then also the passers will earn differently. Now, you noticed there was a crew that had 4 million and a crew that had 2 million. Now, the crew that had 2 million had not yet joined at the time. They were given appointment letters, but because their trainings were not complete, they were given half pay until the trainings were completed. Not necessarily, they were actually in the organization but not working, because there are mandatory trainings they had to do, and those trainings were not yet complete. They go on for about 6 weeks, but these ones took a longer time. So that's why there was that disparity, for some earning 4, some earning 2. When the trainings were completed and they passed, because you have to pass by Civil Aviation Authority, then they get their money regularized. So you will still see the disparities of pilots, because the Airbus and the CRJ earn differently.
So who are the ones of 65 million?
That's the Airbus. Then the 50 something you
54?
mentioned, 54, that's the CRJ.
And the 38?
Some of those will be first officers. Some of them will be, because the first officer for the CRJ will earn differently from the first officer of the Airbus.
What's first officer?
Okay, let me ask my colleague, the Director of Flight Operations, to explain it to you in a language that is understandable. Captain Lukman, would you like to take over? Here. Come. The interim board, because when we presented the different disparities, we regularized a lot of the salaries to remove those disparities among the staffing. So you'll notice that most of those salaries have been regularized. So the directors now earn in the range that is 40. That was regularized.
So are you saying you slashed
Yes.
the pay of director maintenance from 80 million to 40? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir.
That's as of when?
Can I get that information for you? I don't have it off head, but it was just after the audit, but I'll follow it up and bring you. No, it was done when the contract ended. When his contract ended, his new contract was a different one, was regularized.
You wanted to make clarification, Captain?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, all my staff. Most of the senior people in the company who have been there longer joined the company in April. At that time, the company was operating only the CRJ, Bombardier. So there was a salary scale based on operating the Bombardier. And at that time, the captains we are taking the figure that you have cited there, 38 million, and that was as long as it was only Bombardier that was in operation. In 2020, we are going to have the Airbus, which was coming in December. Now, the Airbus would attract different levels of pilots. We are going to bring expatriates. We are also going to hunt wherever we can people who fly the Airbus. The Airbus, as an industry, is considered a more superior equipment by way of operation, where it flies, and also we start protecting the staff on the Airbus against any other snatching from competitors. We have a very good competitor just down here, around there. Actually, let you know, I poached 6 pilots from there, and I'm not popular. They know, they say, Captain Lukman took our pilots. Now, in order to convince them to be with us, we have to attract them. You have to attract also the expatriates if you're going to look for the best staff. So we had those 2 dimensions to labor on. Somebody is coming from Brazil, from England, from Singapore. These people are getting fairly good money. One of the board members here has been a senior captain at those levels, so he will understand what I'm talking about. So at that time, we had to work out a salary scale which will keep foreigners whom we did at that time, because we didn't have any Ugandan who could fly Airbus except for 2. But one was in Qatar and one was in Vietnam. And they were earning $13,000 per month. I had to engage them hotly to convince them to come here to take equivalent of $10,000 to drop a salary of $3,000. But at that time, I'll also be upgrading our local pilots who have been around to support us for the past 3 years or so to start the airline, so that they're at the same level. You are bringing a Ugandan who is in Vietnam to come and take $10,000 because you have asked him to drop $3,000 because he's coming home. But also you have a Ugandan who has been with you ever since you started the airline. Now you cannot say you remain at 38,000. He says, but why? I'm also going to find the Airbus. So you have to also bring up his salary. But the condition was that he must take the full training on Airbus. When he checks out, then he will also get that salary, which is acceptable. They are not complaining. A number of them have qualified, and they are happy, and they are okay with where they are. At the same time, we are attracting expatriates, good ones, to come and remain here, not just space to find a better job elsewhere. So you give them what you think is considerable okay, and that is the equivalent of around 65 million. That's what we did. They fly the same equipment, so we put them close to the Ugandans who have already flown Airbus. When you compare this expatriate salary, it is similar to what our competitors down there are offering, similar to what KQ is giving people who are flying a similar machine. So we worked around that information and experience, and I'm aware of how pilots are paid. The salaries are even on the internet for various companies, Emirates, and so on. And then, because we're also removing people from the Bombardier to go up on the Airbus, we have an issue of very young pilots and aging pilots like myself. In between, we have to find a replacement for the time the young pilots will come to standard. We have about 3 to 4 years to reach that standard. So in between, you'll also have expatriates coming on the Bombardier. That is the 53 million that you see there. That gives them about $8,500 per month. They're happy with that, given other conditions. So this is how the Airbus arrival changed the scenario. Before the Airbus arrived, we were not like that. We had the captains earning 38 million, and the co-pilots, whom we are asking, the co-pilots are the assistant pilots, the younger generation, those who are grooming to come up in the next coming years. So this is how it has changed scenario from the time we said the Airbus will be ready in December to start operations.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman.
Looking at this implementation plan, which you said you still see disparities. So the chief executive officer earns 87 million. The chief financial officer 73 million. Managers, the financial manager earns 58 million. But then there are other managers. The IT manager, for example, earns 36 million. I don't know what the disparity is, because there's a manager. There's a manager, financial manager is earning, the chief financial officer, 73 million, financial manager, 58 million, but then you have other managers at the same level. One is earning 43 million, that's human resource manager, 43.9 million. The IT manager is earning 36 million. The cargo manager is earning 14 million. Safety and security manager, 36 million. Quality assurance manager, 43 million. So there's disparity still, you know, because if some managers are earning 58 million, there's a manager who is earning 14 million. It's bothering me, because if people who are supposedly at the same rank are earning differently, it's going to cause confusion.
Yes.
You know, and there will be fights, because if we are at the same level, why are you paying me 14 million, paying another person 58 million?
Yes.
That means I'll not work. I'll not do my job because I'm thinking I'm being treated unfairly. So even in this new structure, you have not addressed the query of the Auditor General.
No, Honorable, that's a structure in the plan that was approved by Cabinet.
But you told me that this is what you're going by now.
We're going by. However, that's why I said to you that we noticed disparities on ground. What I mentioned, that the salaries on ground were totally different from what is in there. So, and there was, like you say, a bit of discomfort. And that's when it was brought to my attention that we're earning differently, this one is earning differently, there's this challenge. So I took it to the board, interim board. And at the time, the interim board noticed that both the implementation plan salary structure and what was on ground was so different. So they asked us to to propose a salary structure based on the industry. And we were supposed to benchmark the airlines in the region and also airlines that are flying the type of aircraft we have. And that we did and presented to the board, interim board. Now the interim board did not approve it because they felt they did not have the mandate to take on, that was something that needed to go up to the shareholder level. So they deferred it to the bigger board that was appointed in April this year. Now the board also wanted to have another study done in the structures, in the structure of the airline. And this is now being started with the human resource audit that is an ongoing. Once that audit is completed, then we will know which way to go. Now, the interim board approved based on a pilot's structure that had been submitted to the previous board, the board that was suspended. And based on that structure, they approved for pilots. And then as we continued, there were more recruitments we had to do. So they would approve based on the structure we had presented on a needs basis only, not on the overall basis.
Okay, as I bring in colleagues, just one final question, perhaps to the board. Pay for people, but I'm just wondering, are we cutting our coat according to the amount of cloth we have? You know, because your CEO is earning 87 million, CFO 73, managers 58 million. We want our people to be paid well. But then I'm looking at the Auditor General's report, which is indicating a loss that you made of 164 billion. So I'm at odds, you know, you're making losses of 164 billion, and then there's this salary structure, and I want our employees, you know, to be paid well, but I'm just wondering, are we balancing all these issues? Because you're not earning this money, you're operating at a loss of 164 billion shillings as of the last financial year. How are we balancing this equation? Are we cutting our coat according to the amount of cloth that we have? Maybe if I can get a response to that, then I'll bring in the members. Board Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Chair and members. Honorable Chair, as a board, we are also uncomfortable with some of these salaries, and that is why we have embarked on two things: the manpower audit, and the manpower audit will inform us exactly the staff we need. And we also have embarked on discussing a salary structure for this airline. Honorable Chair, I want to promise you that by the end of this year, we will have a salary structure and an organogram that is agreeable to the board, where we feel comfortable. Honorable Chair, I also want to put the record straight. There is no manager who earns that 58 million.
But it's here in the document you have given me.
That document had disparities, which the CEO has been belaboring to explain. And because of those disparities, there have been reviews. For example, the finance officer earns 40 million. So those disparities have been there, Honorable Chair and members. But we have embarked on reviewing those disparities and putting it correct in line with what the airline needs to operate, and, like you said, cutting our cloth to the material we have. I submit.
Just a quick one.
Perhaps, now you've intrigued me to ask one more. Line of up to the end of the year. I'm worried a bit because the next Auditor General's report is going to come out with another loss, because this one is showing a loss of 164 billion. So if, I don't know that you have to spend all of that time as we make other losses, because the pay is quite high, but that's problem one. Problem number two, which for me is a bigger problem, you'll find that maybe some of these people are not needed. But how do you know? You don't have a staff structure. You say you're still working on the staff structure and all of that. I'm thinking you're taking too long as the taxpayer is operating at a loss, because once you don't have this structure in place, staff structure, which eventually then enables you to know, now that we have a staff structure, these are the people that we need, then you determine this is how much we should pay them. If we continue in this vicious cycle, you know, until end of year, I'm worried that the Auditor General's report that is coming next is going to raise similar issues of these billions of losses that we are making. That bothers me as a leader, and I'm sure it bothers the taxpayer too, that we are spending billions on Uganda Airlines. There's no staff structure. You know, the salary structure is not clear, but we are pumping money therein, pumping money, and there's no proper accountability. Because how do you account for this money if you don't have a staff structure? That's what the Auditor General is saying here. We should be able to see value for money, but you can't see value for all these millions when you don't have a staff structure. You don't know who do we really need, who do we not need. That's a big concern. Okay, Honorable Baka, then I'll move this way.
Chair, you see, I want to appreciate our explanation. In business, you look at operation costs versus income, and that is business, simple language. Now, there is no way you can slash the amount in the contract. It's unconstitutional. Until the contract has ended and somebody comes into the new contract. Are you getting me? Now, could you tell us, with this circus still going on, how much do you, just roughly, do you get as the airline vis-a-vis the operation costs?
Just take note of the questions, then we'll respond at once.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, the CEO continuously deferring the issue of the structure to the audit that is going on, because I think it is still the mandate of this board to come out with the salary structure and also the structure of the company. But now when they say, as the process was taking place, then we got an audit and the audit stayed everything, I don't understand. Because I think the audit shouldn't stop them from doing their mandate. But I'm also concerned, especially what I heard my sister get, what she gets, the 80 million. I can understand what the senior pilot was explaining for the pilots. Because if you want a pilot to fly your Airbus to London, you definitely need to facilitate him well so that the facilitation fits within the market. But then the CEO, 80 million. I would like to know her qualification that earns her that 80 million per month in the company that has financial issues like the Uganda airline.
Okay, Honorable Mbwa.
Thank you so much, my brother. First, I'm proud because the importance of the HR, one, the audit you are speaking, the human resource audit, would have even been done earlier before even employing other people. That one was very important. The HR is supposed to advise the board if those people are so relevant, if they are supposed even to earn, he or she is supposed to participate. So I'm still wondering if these people honestly have an HR manager who is waiting that they should even go for benchmarking. What are you going to benchmark to see the salaries of managers? Do you need to go to benchmark, either you're going to UK or what? Because you mentioned it, that they are waiting, they wanted to benchmark and see how you can try to formalize. I think you're delaying us. I'm appreciating, Honorable Chair. I know most of the countries, the national carriers, they don't earn money. They are there to present their interests and whatnot. Even the Rwandan Air and what they are struggling, that one we know. But the losses, they try to minimize losses. You cannot minimize all those losses when you're paying people exorbitantly. And I'm very much interested if the CEO can reply the question of Honorable Mpindi, because I need to know her qualification, such that it is, you can earn 87. They've been saying that MPs are highly paid. What journalists, I think you must be ashamed if you've been here. You're very much ashamed. If you're saying MPs are the most highly paid, tell me an MP who can add even that one, even 56, even 40. Tell me one MP, even 30. And you have been saying here. So we need to know the qualifications, Chair. Actually, it is 11 minus taxes and you get 6.12. So I want to appreciate, to be honest, and they are talking about salaries, Honorable Chair. We are not looking at the allowances. They are talking about the salary. So, Chair, all in all, one, benchmarking is not very important. The staff salary structure, the discrepancies...
Maybe it is, but after benchmarking, you then fit it within your economy, your budget, you then cut your coat according to the cloth you have after looking at Mbwa's coat, and you engineer yours or cut yours based on the amount of cloth you have.
Honorable Chair, there was, I'm sorry I've forgotten the name, but that old gentleman who came here to explain, the senior pilot, I appreciated, because he said that even if you go to internet, you can even surf and find out what a senior pilot can get. Did they go for benchmarking? Do you need even to go for benchmarking? Or it can also be seen. But you cannot go for benchmarking to consider the salary of a director, the salary of a sweeper, that you need to what are you benchmarking? You just look for brooms, what are you going to look for? So, Honorable Chair, in a nutshell, we appreciate the salaries of pilots. Because even in here in Uganda, in a layman's language, the man who drives my bus, a school bus, does not earn like the way someone who earns the coaster, who drives a coaster, or a tipper, or a car. That one we appreciate. The discrepancy must be there. But when it comes to the directors, even here at Parliament, it is streamlined. If you are at the level of a director, they know which scale. Is it U scale? Is it you three or what? So, I'm not convinced at all, and they are delaying. I think we need to do something. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Mbwa. Honorable Nangoli, then I'll come to Honorable Nancy and Honorable Muzali.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. I would like to ask the CEO here. I don't know whether you attended the exit meeting with the office of the things raised. Why didn't you respond to them? Because now that we have called you here, it means that the Office of Auditor General was not satisfied with your explanation. Then, two, did you receive the management letter from the auditors?
Affirmative to both. I was there and we responded.
Then we expected you would have responded to this professionally. Now that you are here, it means that there are issues to answer. Thank you.
Honorable Muzali. Oh, no, Honorable Nancy first, sorry. Honorable Nancy, then Honorable Muzali.
Thank you, Chair and colleagues. I want, what is your management plan, the future plan that you've put in place, basing on the salary structure that you've put in line with the people you're paying for their service? Because we are seeing the discrepancies vis-a-vis the money that the airline is getting, and you're also working at a loss. Do you intend to revise the salary structure, or you will continue paying yourself the way you're doing now and continue getting lost under the expense of Uganda taxpayers' money?
Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Muzali.
Chair, I was a little bit impressed at the beginning when I heard the CEO paying herself 87 million Ugandan shillings. Mr. Chairman, I may lack words. It's unheard of. I have not had an entity. And there are big entities working day and night, like UNRWA, like KCCA, Heart Institute, saving lives of Ugandans every day. And some institutions are breaking even in terms of profits. Even as members of Parliament, who share with the full constituency, we are not even earning half of what she's paying herself. Honorable Chair, it's a shame. Honorable Chair, I had the director of flights, I don't know, flight operations. He said, we have to pay our flight captains comfortable pay, at least a minimum of $8,000, which is okay, perhaps. But when you hear the amount of money that is in that structure is 53 million. 53 is literal about $13,000. 13, 14, around 15 there, I think. Now, you cannot compare 8,000 to the 15,000 that you're actually paying. Mr. Chairman, what is so even more annoying is that this very institution is operating on losses. It's operating at a loss of 164 billion Ugandan shillings. But despite of this big loss, this burden being pushed to the taxpayers, our employees are walking out with fat bags. Mr. Chairman, lastly, can we know how much the commission and the chairperson of the commission, of the board, they are earning?
Okay, Honorable Sibambi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Mine is a quick one. Some of these recruitments again refer to the interim board. I wanted to suggest and propose that when you go back, please make sure that the resolutions of the interim board or directives are ratified by your board. Otherwise, they are ultra-vires. They cannot be enforced and can also be sued. So whichever resolution that is binding and guiding your operations must be approved by the board, because the interim board is not anywhere in the governance structure. their resolutions were just for purposes of holding fort because you had no substantive board.
Honorable Ricky.
Yes. Thank you, Chair. Listening to the CEO, I'm wondering whether she feel that she's working and she stands tall every day, that she's operating a company, staff structures, and I'm wondering what she does on a daily million while uncomfortable with all what is going on in the company. Thank you.
I traveled with Uganda Airlines from Nairobi, but I found the life jackets they normally put on when they are demonstrating, they are completely, they are totally, no please, I'm just giving an advice. If I don't give them from here, I don't know. They were completely dirty. I had even to advise the cabin crew that what does it take, the ones who are earning those millions, what does it take to wash those demonstration jackets? I thank you. Take it in good faith. Mutu swaza.
Okay. The spirit that I hear, colleagues, and maybe an MP earns less than CEO, whatever, that's not important. You know, different roles, different pay, and so on, are concerned that the airlines, which is not making money, it is making losses, 164 billion per year. I don't know what it will be this time round. You know, the money, but even of bigger concern, there is no staff structure. You see, we would perhaps have a debate on this is a staff structure that we need, that we have in place and we require. Let's discuss how much they are being paid and that kind of thing. But you don't have a staff structure in place that is concrete, that is robust, you know. And so for me, that's one of the things worrying me. The Auditor General raises another query about people that were suspended and you hired others in their place, and both the ones who were acting and those who were suspended were earning a salary. These millions that we are talking about, it's raised by the Auditor General. And so that was another loss. And I think it was to the tune of, maybe let me just get the exact figure, because it's quite a bit of money. So for me, this just goes to show for some of the disorganization that we need to fix in Uganda Airlines. So here is the figure. So while the affected staff remained on the same terms of contract, the officers appointed to act in their positions receive extra pay, implying double payment for the same position. As a consequence, the company has lost a total of 2.3 billion shillings in a period of 7 months. All these things are very concerning. We want to have you people paid well, but there are so many irregularities that are bothering us. You know, people are on suspension, others are hired to act, and those who are acting and those who are on suspension are earning the same amount of money. And so, just for the suspended people alone, vis-a-vis those who have been appointed to act, 2.3 billion shillings gone in 7 months. You people should be concerned. At least we are.
They are in process.
Board chair and your team, MD, CEO, whoever.
Board, because we wanted to get an understanding of the staffing of the airline, the gaps. So this manpower audit is supposed to help us. Honorable Chair, we note your concern on the timelines and we are going to try and make it as fast as possible. Honorable Chair, on the salary of the CEO, when the interim board came in, the former CEO was earning 126 million shillings. Now,
come again?
Yes, the former CEO was earning 126 million per month. Yes.
Okay.
And the interim board slashed that salary for the acting CEO to 60 million. Honorable Chair, we are concerned as members about these salaries, and that is why I said that we are doing a manpower audit. We are going to put in place a staff structure that will feed the interests of the airline. Honorable Chair, on what we earn as a board, the chairperson earns 4 million retainer and the member 3.5. On the
allowances,
allowances, if we sit in a meeting, it is 600,000. On the money we are earning right now, vis-a-vis our expenses, I would request the